I was a very confused kid growing up. I was a rapper at some point. I was also a barber in school.
It's like a very unconventional place for someone who went to University of Ghana, studied what?
Geography. We're a growth agency where we are building products that solve marketing problems. What are the problems business are facing? What are the solutions we can offer for them? And then what products should we build? This is the best magazine the school had produced at that time. And I felt proud of it. I want to create an organization. The plan was create magazines for high schools and junior high schools. So I went into uni and I'm like, I need to start this thing. That's where iSupreme started. I just put a couple of friends together. People began to see iSupreme as one of those clicks, and I didn't like that. I got fed up, so I wanted to do something different, something big. It didn't come out the way I expected. I've never been broken. Funny story. My nickname in high school was Supreme. I wanted something more professional, more future facing.
How did you manage to convince your parents that you're going to start a marketing agency?
My mom found out somehow that I wasn't staying in school. Focus on the school. Classroom might not be necessary to you, but the school community is extremely important. Flutterwave wanted an agency in Ghana. It's underrated how difficult it is to get in the room. And it doesn't matter how good you are. That would be $10,000 by the way.
In your bid to keep all these, the vehicle moving, even though the back seat is on fire, your front tires, is flat. How do you keep yourself sane? Hello, community of builders. I say this because, our mantra remains just build something. So the conversation I'm about to listen to is one with Clinton Nyarkoh. Clinton is the CEO for iSupreme. They are marketing. They say they are a growth agency. Started off as a marketing agency, now a growth agency. They work with really, really renowned brands in our ecosystem. The Flutterwave, Yango. Great work. Very young man, and I think a very, very behind the curtain kind of conversation we had on this one, and I can't wait for you to hear it. And so, as the mantra remains, just build something. Anyway, thanks for coming, Clinton.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're doing something really interesting with iSupreme.
Thank you.
For some reason, before we came here, I just had a long people just talking about you in different circles. Just last week, I was telling you, my friend PY.
Yeah.
I was on a call with him. I was like, oh, he's doing this work and you're involved. I've heard this guy's name before. It's really flattering that you decided to come in here, have a conversation with us.
Well, it's an honor to be here. I also came across your podcast a couple of times. I'm like, well, it would be nice to be on here. So
yeah,
feels
nice.
What they say, a dream come true to be here.
That's very flattering. Yeah. But yeah, iSupreme, what do you guys do?
It's as we go on, it becomes difficult to say it all in one sentence.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is we are basically, in a traditional sense, a marketing agency. But we've sort of grown out of that because of other things we are getting into. Okay. So right now, what I'll call us, which is not a conventional word, is that we're a growth agency or we're a growth company. So we basically have two divisions right now.
Okay.
The first division is the pure marketing agency, and that's how we started. We started doing branding, marketing, all that. Over time, we decided to position, to focus, to become a technology-focused growth agency. So we are trying to look at how businesses can use technology to create different and new kind of experiences and connections with their customers. So it's the usual stuff that everyone does. We just said that we want to use technology as the medium. How do you use technology as a means to reach more people, to create better connections, to create a different kind of experience with them? So there's that. Then there's a technology division called iSupremeLabs, where we are building products that solve marketing problems. Oh. So, work in the space for a while now, and over time begin to realize problems that businesses face, especially smaller businesses, face with regards to their marketing. And for someone as curious as I am, you want to do something about it, you know. You're like, how do I use technology to solve this? So you a lot of agencies, and I think it's in our DNA to do these things over a period of time. You tend to figure out how to use social media to solve that problem, how to use TV, how to use radio, but there's a shift ongoing at the moment.
Conventional.
So you're like, how can I use technology to solve that? So that is where we are at right now. We are building a couple of products. We have, I think there's a first place I mentioned, it's Interlex.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll be launching it this month.
What's that about?
It's an AI-powered customer engagement platform. customer intelligence platform actually. So it helps you, interact with your customers on social media by responding to them based on knowledge that you have uploaded for your business, and it learns over time to be able to respond on its own. Then it detects their sentiments, gives recommendations on how to improve them. It gives you basic insights and analytics on what your chat performance is and what your customers think about your business and what they need from you. It also helps you detect sales leads, so people who are potential buyers or customers of your business. And then it helps you also resolve their issues for them. So it detects support tickets and all that. So that's what it's about. And then there's another one that has been in the pipeline for a while now called Connect, that helps small businesses find, pay, and collaborate with creatives like graphic designers, copywriters, and all that. So that's the second product.
Okay.
And we also set up an innovation lab.
Is that like a marketplace where
It's like a marketplace, yeah. So business can find creatives, and then in the future, creatives can also find gigs that businesses have posted. So that's another thing that we're working on. So we have to build a technology. We have to enable ourselves with like a technology fundamental sort of to be able to do that. So one of the things that we're doing this year is to create an innovation lab. We brought a couple of students and young graduates together to actually do research. What are the problems businesses are facing? What are the solutions we can offer for them? And then what products should we build, to. So it's a lot of work we are doing on that end, because we believe that, if we want to solve problems with technology, then we need to be technologists. We can't just be saying it as saying sake. We can't just be saying that this is who we are when we don't have the capabilities. So we actually have to build that to be able to serve businesses better. So that's basically what iSupreme is. So in short, I'll say is that we are
a growth company.
A growth company, a technology focused growth company. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So like starting off with pure marketing as a marketing agency, you've evolved to build like a whole ecosystem that tends to the marketing needs of businesses and even really customer focused needs of businesses. That's exciting. Yeah. And it's like a very unconventional place for someone who went to University of Ghana, studied what?
Geography.
Okay, so run me through that. Before University of Ghana, you went to what? St. Martin's?
I went to St. Martin's, yeah. Okay. I did general arts. And then actually I wanted to do, I would say that I was a very confused kid, growing up. There were so many things I knew I could do. I had so many passions. There were so many things I wanted to do, right? So it was very conflicting for me.
Was there a rapper in there?
Actually, yes, I was a rapper at some point in high school. I was a rapper. I was a dancer as well.
Okay.
In high school. So people don't believe it whenever I say that. People know me now, but then those who knew me from high school know that I was, So there were so many things I wanted to do. At a point, I was thinking about becoming an actor. I don't know how that went, So I went through a whole period of self-discovery to try and see. And truth is, I believe I can still do all of those things if I really put my mind to them. It's not something that I don't think I can do still. I believe that if I really want it and I invest my time in it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of pressure, as a in quote smart kid in school. Your teachers, your family, everyone wants you to do the usual medicine, stuff like that. And it was exciting, but whenever I thought about even doing medicine, it was about how do I start it as a business? Like, how do I start a hospital? And not necessarily how do I serve patients, So there was always a business perspective behind whatever I wanted to do. When I thought of becoming a lawyer, I was about how to start a law firm.
Was it for money? Was it because of money?
I don't think I've ever been bothered or concerned about the money when I want to start something. It's about creating things. I love to start things. I love to create things. Once I'm in love with it, I want to create it. I don't mind how long it's going to take. I don't mind what the return is for me. Eventually, when you're not, I see the results more as fulfillment. That you say, okay, I want to be here. Like even as for my business, I want the business to get to a certain point, work with some kind of clients, have a certain type of team on a particular scale, and that is fulfillment for me, So obviously, when you get to that scale, it comes with the money. Yeah. So it's like it's a given. It comes with it, but that is not really what you're looking at, So that conflicted a lot. So I went to high school. I did general arts.
Okay.
And then I had a couple of business ideas back in school.
Senior high school.
In senior high school, yeah. I tried to I used to do, so during my preps, I will spend a lot of time working on writing pads. You know, people who write letters.
Design letters.
So I'll be designing letters and writing the intros for people. And that's what I spent.
Have a story.
That's what I spent my preps doing. You know,
Okay.
so I pay people pay me to do that. You know, I was also a barber in school though. I used to cut people's hair for money, and it wasn't really about the money. I just enjoy doing
Just a
things. You know,
creative.
so I tried that, and then eventually I wanted to start a magazine for the school on my own.
Okay.
So I put a team together. I started talking to people. We went to the school to get permission. The school was like, they can't let us do that on our own. So the school, we have to do it on behalf of the school. So it became like an automatic editorial board. But it wasn't the school that started it. And apparently there was an existing editorial board. So they were more like sidelined for us, you know, because I started my own thing. So we went ahead, we did it. And I didn't get anything from it. I wasn't paid for it. All I got was one copy of the magazine. And I felt so proud. Because all the teachers, the headmaster, everyone said, this is the best magazine the school had produced at that time. And I felt proud of it. So that's sort of inspired me to want to do it on a larger scale as a business. Yeah. So the plan from there, I was also involved in the planning of some events back in high school. So I was like, okay, I want to create an organization that does magazines.
You're part of those boys who are controlling the school.
I was actually very...
It fits the profile.
I was actually very low-key.
You got
I was very low-key, but you know, I somehow always ended up in conversation, creative, entertainment.
Were you part of the intercom?
Yeah, I was part of the intercom.
It's always that way. You can rap, you can dance. You're part of the editorial committee.
Yeah.
They're the people running the school.
So I just ended up there. So I just wanted to create something like that. So the plan was create magazines for high schools and junior high schools, right? Do events for them because I sort of found that passion and I wanted to get into it. So I spoke to a couple of my mates at that time back in high school. I spoke to them. That's what I wanted to do. And they seemed interested. We completed school and they kept asking, Charlie, how far with this and how far with that, you know? And it all seemed so much for me. I didn't know where to start from. So I went into uni and I'm like, you know, I need to start this thing. And that's where iSupreme started. I just put a couple of friends together. So we started like that. We were roaming around schools, JHS schools in Accra. We want to do magazine for you, want to do events for you and all that. And we're like, you know, let's do our own event to get a hype out, people to know about us. We did the first event, it was successful. It was called Supremacy. It was actually a club event. We did it, was successful. People loved it. So we ended up doing so many events, you know. And now people began to see us as an event organization. I didn't like that because that wasn't the plan. So we had to do some repositioning over time.
Was it making you money?
It was actually. It was. I think the first amount of money I made from running this business was from the events I was doing. You know, I just saw it differently at the time, right? It was, people were seeing it as, you see, around those times, if you were in high school around the time I was, there were these high school cliques, you know, they were also doing those events and all that. So people began to see iSupreme as one of those cliques, and I didn't like that. And that was definitely because of the kind of activities we're involved in, you know. And also, doing events was very difficult. It required a lot of resources if you don't have sponsorships and all that. So all the events we were doing before were our own events. I got fed up with the club events. So I wanted to do something different, something big. So the next event I wanted to do was like a concert. I wanted to get brands on board, you know, and it took a lot to make it happen, right? But then it didn't come out the way I expected. So that sort of like shifted my focus, not from doing event necessarily, but like if I'm going to do
focus or broke your resolve.
I've never been broken, actually. No, I've never been broken. It was more like, okay, we wanted to do the event as a means to experiential marketing. Okay. So doing activations and stuff like that for brands. I was like, that's just one way of doing marketing.
Okay.
There is a digital way, there is a advertising way, there are different ways of doing it. So if the event side isn't going to work, then we can explore other approaches to make it work. So we decided to focus more on digital. You know, that's when we shifted focus from the events into digital.
Yeah.
And high school, uni geography was, I wanted to do business administration. I didn't get business administration. I ended up with geography, and I could do anything that was offered, so I just did it. Yeah.
Quite an interesting name.
iSupreme.
iSupreme. Where does it come
from? Funny story. My nickname in high school was Supremo.
Oh,
so
El Supremo.
Supremo, yeah. So I just started something with that name. So it was initially called Supreme Inc. But then again, when we began to reposition from the event house thing into an actual agency, we wanted something more professional, more future facing. Because Supreme Inc. didn't seem like something that you could grow with. We wanted something we could grow with. So we went to iSupreme, and then we made it work. Actually, someone told me that we were less than a year into starting the business. So someone told me that it's too early to do that. People are going to forget you. And my team had also grown attached to the Supreme Inc. name. So I had to make a point to them. And there's one thing, if I believe in something that much, I try really hard to convince you. It makes me come off as I am trying to instill my preferences, But that's not the case. Is that I believe in it so much, I'm willing to make a point to you. So most of the time, what I want is for people to also defend their point to me.
Yeah.
If your points seems to, make more sense, I don't mind going. But if I believe in it so much, I'm usually very stubborn when it comes to stuff I believe in. So
when I first learned about what you're doing, one of the early thoughts I had was, how did you manage to convince your parents that you're going to start a marketing agency, right? Because in Ghana, just even in convincing parents that you want to do your own business, just something that buy and sell or something, just trying to do something different as an entrepreneur, you have to do a lot of convincing. That's the general stance for most parents. But here you are wanting to do a marketing agency, doing events, and how did you manage to convince your parents?
I didn't. I didn't because I've like I said, I've always had that. I think the point where I started coming out more was in uni, sometime in second year, or first year. I don't know.
When I was in Accra.
Sorry?
Were you in Accra?
Yeah, I was in Accra. Yeah. Okay. I've lived most of my life in Accra.
Okay.
So because I wanted to do my first event, I was going out a lot looking for sponsorship, right? So my mom found out somehow that I wasn't staying in school. I was roaming around looking for sponsorship. And she told me that you weren't sent to school to do a business. You were sent to school to study. So focus on the school. When you're done, you can go into business. And I think my way around parents is I don't rebel, Other children will rebel. No, I know what I want to do. I didn't rebel. I just said, okay. I just went ahead and did my thing anyways. So when I did my second event in school, I think I was in second year then, I just gave some of the money to my mom, and actually you would think that eventually they come around. They never come around. And that's because it's not from a bad place.
Yes.
And that's the thing a lot of people get wrong. It's not from a bad place, from a good place. Parents always want to look out for you. They want to protect you. They feel like they wouldn't want you to make a mistake that they've probably made, or they want to make sure that you are set. And entrepreneurship is very risky. There's a lot of uncertainty. There is very little security, for you. They want you to find a job that is more stable, So once every while it comes up, when they see you're doing well, they feel proud of you.
Yeah.
Especially when they hear it from other people. Oh, your son is doing really good. They feel proud of you. But then once in a while, there's that, especially if you are I'm very open about some of the struggles with running a business with my mom. So whenever you open up about things like that to her, my dad is around here. Okay. We don't talk about business that often, but I do talk a lot about that with my mom.
Is your mom a businesswoman?
She's a businesswoman. Both my parents are businesswomen.
Interesting.
So whenever you open up about the struggles of running the business to her, it's like she gets scared for you. Then she's like, why don't you find, a job to do? Because she feels like that's more stable, that has more security. But it is what it is,
If both parents are business people, why aren't you able to talk to your dad?
I talk to him, it's, I don't know if that's something I would want to get into so much, but then it's like every child has the parent that they bond more with, so it's very natural that you're going to open up more to one person than to the other.
Okay.
So that's basically
How
what
many
it is.
siblings you have?
3 or 4, I think.
3 or 4?
Four.
Sure. 4.
Yeah. On step siblings.
Okay.
So between my mom and dad, we are just 2.
Okay.
But
I'm just
then there
trying
are
to
other
explore your upbringing and how growing up was like, right?
Yeah.
And so did you grow up with parents?
Yeah, until a point. My parents got divorced eventually. So I grew up mostly with my mom. But I've always been in touch. I won't call it a stepdad because we never lived together.
Okay.
He was there, but we never lived together.
Are you the oldest?
Between my mom and my dad, I am the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah, but on my dad's side, I am the second. So I have an older brother.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have younger siblings.
How did that affect you? Your parents getting divorced and having to live with your mom alone as a oldest child?
I think, everyone and how stuff like that affects, right?
Yeah.
People personally, I like to deny that it didn't affect me because I feel like I came out fine, I did well. But then when you look at it, like, I'm also a very self-aware person, so you end up looking back at things and you're like, okay, this is definitely because of that. So I am a very isolated person. For the want of a better term, I like being alone a lot. And I think that came from that, I felt like it was more peaceful being alone than to have to be there where, you have to deal with the conflict from both parents, So I ended up being, and I tend to also, I begin to feel like the more I'm in the same space with someone over a long period of time, the chances of there being conflicts is higher.
Yeah,
so I tend to spend very little time in the same space with
people.
Yeah, because I feel like, after a while, and it's very normal for those things to happen. For long-term relationships, I feel like so many conflicts have, they put a strain on the relationship, so as much as you can avoid conflicts, But then I just became that person that I just like being alone. Even when I was living with my mom, I was always happy when there was no one in the house, especially on vacations. When I returned from high school or uni, my mom goes to work, my sister goes to school, and I have the house to myself. I feel very at peace. Not that I've never been maltreated by my parents, My family was very friendly home. It was happy, peaceful. I just liked having my personal time, my personal space.
How are you blending that, with you're leading a team, right? And I'm sure with the ideals of having like a long-term association with the team and working together with them on a day-to-day, right? And of course, working with different people will come with conflicts will arise. But here you are, a very conflict-averse person. How have you managed that?
Okay, it's growth. So there's one thing I always say that I wish I had the same commitment to other parts of my life like I did with work, When it is about work, I always make it happen. Dealing with the hard conversations, having the hard conversations, dealing with the conflicts, living with people, if it means making it work, So when it comes to work, you have to make it happen. I have to make it happen, regardless of what my emotions are, what my mental space is, whatever. You just have to make it work because you might not get a chance to make it happen again, right? So I think I've grown to the point where it's easier to have such conversations. I don't think I'm conflict averse when it comes to work. And in fact, I've become very outspoken as a person generally. Because initially, if I am not happy about something, I would rather avoid confrontation just so the person doesn't feel bad or feel some type of way, But then you realize that it's not something you can avoid for long. So you began to speak up more.
Yeah.
I tried as much as possible to speak up in a way that doesn't make the person feel bad about themselves, Sometimes you err, you're human, I don't think I'm a perfect person. Sometimes you err, but then because I said I'm a very self-aware person, you introspect and realize, okay, I didn't approach this the right way. So you go back and then resolve it. And yeah.
Okay, so back to entrepreneurship, right? Something that started from senior high school, so to speak, university, to being this great brand that is building tech
It's
products.
very flattering that you call us a great brand.
A great brand, because I mean, now you are working with your Flutterwave, your Yango, Rokomamis, big brands, So we're going to hopefully explore what has brought you here from that young man in University of Ghana studying geography, running away from school to seek for sponsorships to this point, right? Because I know at some point you worked with you did a couple of projects, started up other things, Peswas, things like that, So University of Ghana, you decided that now you're going to focus on marketing. You're going to be a marketing agency. First of all, at what point did you decide that? What influenced you? Say, well, we're not just going to be making magazines for schools or doing events for people to be happy and make people have a good time, but we want to be a marketing agency. What influenced our decision?
Okay, so we were very deliberate about our own brand.
Okay.
Right. Our logo, good. Our entire visual identity was really top notch. How we handled our own socials, our own publicity was really good. So we started getting a lot of attention for ourselves. So what started happening is that businesses started reaching out to us that, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Can you design my logo for me? Can you create the brand identity for me?
Were you doing that yourself?
Most of it I was doing a lot of it myself. So I had to learn. Funny thing, I've always tried to design on my own. And I told you about the entire writing part thing. So I tried designing our first logo, but then I was spending every allowance my mom sent me when I was in university to pay for designs for our initial event. So the first 3-4 events that we did was what I spent my weekly allowance paying. So every design, the price of every design is equivalent to my weekly allowance.
Wow.
Which means that week you are like, It's always funny when, when rich people talk about their story and they say, oh no, I started with just 5 cedis. People say that's a lie. Truth is, I can say I started my company with 50 Ghana cedis because the first spend I made on my business was that 50 cedis I paid for a flyer design.
Yeah.
So I can say that.
Yeah, I get it.
So that's how it started. And I was like, it wasn't sustainable, so I had to learn how to design on my own so that I can be doing stuff for our own brand. And eventually I got really good at it because I like to think I have very good taste though. So I got very good at the entire branding thing. So a lot of the clients that were coming to us or do this for me, I was doing all of that for them. Most of them for free. Some of them were my friends' businesses. Some were free stuff you do for some of these student organizations on campus, the Political Science Students Association and all that. So we're doing all of those for free. But it brought more visibility. Now people begin to see your work. People begin to see your logo all around. They start asking questions. What do you do? Who are these guys and all that, So we saw that and we're like, okay, this is an opportunity for us. Why not turn it into something? And that's the thing. When you begin to explore that, you begin to learn more and you begin to get excited about it. You're like, okay, there's something I can do. So we branched into that. So luckily for me, I started meeting people along the way that could make it happen. I made my first hair in about, I think that was level 300, because we had a magazine project that I was designing entirely. And I had this designer he was someone who wanted to learn from me, so he was begging me to give him the project to do. And I didn't want, because I wanted to do it myself, Eventually I just handed it over to him to do. And we had an agreement on how much I was going to pay him every month, So I think that was my first. I made my first tie when I was in level 300, I was paying him 200 Ghana cedis at that time.
A month.
200 cedis a month, yeah.
That was good money.
So that's how it started. And then started meeting people who helped make it happen, basically. And then that's how we turned it into a business.
Oh, okay. And then, so after university, now you've built this little marketing agency at the University of Ghana, getting clients, serving the student body. After school, what was the plan? You did your national service where?
in iSupreme.
So you worked for yourself.
I work for
as
myself.
national
Yeah.
service.
That was a tough decision. I was very confused from the period before I graduated. It was a very confusing period for me. So, you want to work for yourself. You know you want to work for yourself, and you know that if you are doing that, you can invest a lot of time into growing the business, right?
Yes.
But there's a lot of uncertainty that comes with that. You don't have a solid client base that is sustainable enough to keep you and all the other people you are bringing along with you, you know. So that was tough. So the plan was to do my service elsewhere while I was doing this business on the side.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't something I wanted to do because I knew it was going to distract me, and I didn't want that. You know, luckily we were able to find an office space, a small office space, smaller than this room. You know, and then a couple of the people that I had agreed to come on board with me. You know, with no plan, we didn't have any retaining clients that we can say, okay, we are short of this amount of money every month. We didn't have that. They also took the risk with me. Yeah, because they also had opportunities to do their service elsewhere and to jump on other opportunities. And they were like, you know what, we'll do this thing with you. And then they jumped on board with me. So we started and we're all hustling together, you know. So it was a lot of consistency and a lot of showing up. Even when we didn't have clients, just doing things that put us out there for people to know that these guys are there and they are this good at what they do, you know. And that eventually started bringing in some good leads. So people who really believed in us that, okay, maybe I've not seen you do big stuff, but I believe you can do it based on what you've done so far. Yeah. So let me give you an opportunity. So let me put you on this thing, you know. Yeah. And that is how it started.
Would you say like your first big break deal happened? Which client was that?
Breakthroughs. Something I always say is that people underrate how many breakthroughs you need to have that actual breakthrough.
Big break.
I'm still looking for breakthroughs, by the way.
Oh, yes.
But the first one I would say was when we got to work with Pizza Inn and Chicken Inn.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a known brand. It was a known brand, and we did so many stuff for them that was good for our portfolio, and that got us attention, you know. So I would say that was the first big break.
How did that
happen? So again, I university, being in a university, and that's one thing I always tell people, entrepreneurs who say that and school is not necessary and all that, you know. The classroom might not be necessary to you, but the school community is extremely important, you know.
Network.
Very important, the network. Because I just existed in the university community. Aside doing iSupreme, I was also the head of organizing committee for my hall, Liman.
Okay.
So while planning our hall week, I got to meet someone from one of the organizations we decided to partner with, you know. Mm-hmm. And then, in fact, he offered me the opportunity to do my service in their company, right? It was around that same time that we decided to, you know, go move to our own office, right? And this person, you know, he also helped us with the last event that I said we did at the internal wall, and then we decided to, you know, stop doing events. So after I decided to, you know, go on my own to do the business full time, this person, he kept looking out for me till now. He still looks out for me whenever the opportunity is reached out. Yo, I think you can do this, you know, go for it. So he told us that this company is looking for an agency, and I think you should go and pitch, you know. So he just made an introduction. The pitch was all us, right? Coming up with the ideas on what to do and all that. But he let us know of the opportunity that existed, and then we went in and went to pitch, and then that happened. And luckily for us, we got in. When we go in, we had to prove a point. We had to prove a point to them. We had to prove a point to ourselves. We had to prove a point to people that wanted to work with us, you know. So after that, because of the work we're doing for them, we got a chance to work with Nyarkoh Mamas.
Okay.
Which was, I think Nyarkoh Mamas was like one of those brands that really put a spotlight on us, because it was one of the brands we started from scratch. Nyarkoh Mamas didn't exist in Ghana at all.
Oh, okay.
So every publicity, every awareness that they had was because of the work that we did, you know.
So and including like their brand design or marketing.
Marketing. We run the entire marketing.
Okay.
You get it in collab. So it's a franchise, so you get input from the international teams and all that. And it was also one of the opportunities we had to work internationally because it was a global brand, so you get to work with their teams from outside and all that. So it really put us on the spotlight. We did so many things for them, and we had the freedom to create because we weren't restricted by brand guidelines and all that. So we get a chance to express ourselves, to show how good we are. So that's made a lot of people start noticing us and how good we were. And then from there, more opportunities started coming on. So like I said, Pizza Inn was the first break, Rokumas was the second, and then other things followed from there.
And hey, you were the Yango as well.
Yeah, worked with Yango on a couple of projects, a few projects.
What's the story there?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. So someone that I won't say I mentored him. He was someone who was a mutual on social media, and he texted me one time that he sees my tweets and he really likes what I post about marketing and all that. So we kept in touch. Once a while he reached out to me if he wants an understanding of something. He also worked in another agency. Okay. So he reaches out to me, we discuss and all that, and eventually he got a job at Yango. So he told me that Yango was looking for an agency, so I should pitch. So again, we never actually we never get things handed out to us.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we don't get freebies, we don't get handouts. It's people basically looking out for us, letting us know that there's an opportunity that exists, and then we go in and show that we deserve it, we are capable of doing it. So it's always based on merit. Yeah. But then someone points you to the way. So that's how it happened. We went in, we pitched, we got the first project, we did a second and a third project here. So we did 3 projects with Yango.
The one I'm really interested in knowing about, with your marketing works, is Flutterwave.
Right.
Africa's biggest
fintech,
startup. $3 billion in valuation, and I know you did some work for them here in Ghana. Tell me about that.
Similar thing. So I really can't talk about the iSupreme story without talking about the people who have been impactful in our journey, right? If I sit here and say it was all me, that would be a big lie. There are people who look out for us a lot, and that is also because we are really good at what we do. We always show up. We always,
and that's good.
Yeah,
that's good because even with the conversation we're having now, it's based on the fact that two different people kept telling me, I think you should talk to this guy. I think you should look at this guy here.
Yeah.
And I think it's a testament of what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. So we do that, and then whenever there's an opportunity, people let us know there's this opportunity. Yeah. So Flutterwave wanted they're in Ghana. They run their campaigns in multiple countries. So they wanted an agency in Ghana. We presented our plan to them. They loved it. And we got the chance to work with them. We've also worked on a couple of projects with Yango, Flutterwave, We worked on a couple of projects, So that's how it happened. It was someone looking out for us, and then we going in. And one thing I would say is it's underrated how difficult it is to get in the room. And it doesn't matter how good you are.
Yeah.
Getting in the room is so difficult. So one thing that we've been fortunate with is people who look out for us, who mention us in rooms so that we go in and show what we're capable of. In fact, at this point, we're also looking at people who can get us into bigger rooms, because the work is not enough. We do the work, we keep proving that we are capable of doing this. But then at every stage of your business, the strategy that made you, I always say the strategy that made your first 100K is not the same strategy that will make your first 1 million.
That's true.
Definitely not the same strategy that will make your first 10 million. So at any point in time, you need a new approach to getting into the rooms that can elevate you. You know? So we're always working at preparing for those opportunities when they are. So if you get a big brand coming in, a very huge brand, and you're looking for an agency that can work for them, are you in the position to be able to work with them? Do you have the capabilities? Do you have the team? Do you have the strength, the experience to be able to work with them? So even if someone mentions you in a room and you don't have all of those, you go in and you're going to mess it up, right? So we're always working at positioning ourselves so that when the opportunity comes, it becomes easier for us to take advantage of it. That's what we are doing. And then there are people who I don't have control over a lot of things. What I have control over is how good we can be at what we do. So that if I've met you today, you've seen my work.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, when you go somewhere, you can say that, okay, I think you should try this guy. Then I can come in and show that person that I'm actually as good as he said I am,
Okay, interesting. So I wanted to ask this. So let's use the Peswa Podcast as a business, right? Just trying to put myself in the seat of a customer, a potential customer. What services can you provide for me as iSupreme? What can you do for me? So let's take the Peswa Podcast. So I've come to you, hey guys, I'm starting this podcast and I need an agency to help me build my brand and market what I'm doing. What are the things you can do for me?
Okay. So we never answer that question without asking what you intend to achieve with your podcasts.
Okay.
Who are you trying to impact? Who would you say, and the usual, who would you say is your ideal target audience? And what will success mean to you? What would you say that, okay, if I've gotten to this point, then I feel like you guys have done a good work.
Okay.
Now, once you understand that, we never try to come from a perspective of this is what we do and automatically have to do that for you. Once you understand what you are trying to achieve, then we can now decide what strategies would work, which approaches would work, even which channels should work, right? Some agencies it's straightforward. When you come to them, we are going to do a couple of designs for you and all that. You're doing a podcast. Maybe what you need is not some designs or artworks or whatever. How do you distribute the podcast to the right people? Yeah. So that's distribution. Now, distribution is not a conversation that a lot of agents are going to mention to you when you go into a meeting with them. They're not going to talk about distribution because and it's a creative thing. We creatives have been wired to always look in a particular direction, So we would now look at, okay, if we want, say, the podcast to reach 1 million listeners or viewers, then we need to distribute it beyond the approaches that's currently being used to distribute it. So what people want to listen to, maybe it is not even regular social media users. You're looking at, let's say, business executives and all that. Where do people spend their time? Are they on the usual platforms we know about, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? If yes, sure, why not? If not, where are they? And how do we get that? Yeah.
The client, are you listening?
That would be $10,000, by the way. So if not, and we know that, okay, they likely, will wake up in the morning and go to a Ghana web to go and read news. How about we put snippets or sound bites of the podcast as ads in Ghana web?
Okay.
And then redirect them to our podcast on the various social media platform. Because the platform that the content exists on might not always be the platform of discovery. You get it? If your primary channel of promotion is TikTok, for podcasts, for instance, not a lot of people wake up in the morning and go on Apple Podcasts to go and refresh and look for new podcasts to listen to.
That's true.
A lot of them discover it from social media before they go on there. So if you post only on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you don't promote, you don't distribute it, no one is going to listen to it. I've myself, it's been an issue like that with me. We created a podcast last year. We posted on YouTube. We post snippets on social media, but we didn't put a lot of effort into distributing it. By distribution, you post multiple snippets in the places where the people you want to listen are.
Multiple snippets.
Yeah, I mean, so, and if you can, you tell from the some of the podcasts that people listen to. Definitely. Also, one thing we need to understand is just a people thing, that a lot of people are more inclined to listen to certain type of content than others. It's natural. You get it? Yeah. That is why a lot of people end up using clickbait to get people to get traffic onto their website, their podcast. But then once you notice that my podcast is not like conventional pop culture entertainment and stuff like that, and it's quite niched, and the people who are going to listen to it, the number is not so many people, but I need to reach as much of them as possible, then your approach needs to be very targeted. So very advanced. I believe that distribution onto the platforms that the actual audience are on, then you now direct them onto the actual platform that we are hosting the content on. Yeah.
Interesting. I see. Now I want to have a contact with you already. I understand why these brands are working with you. I see. So I think you said from the start to your national service, you guys got an office space and had a couple of. Are they the same people you're working with?
Some of them.
Some of them. How many people are in the team now?
About 12 people.
Oh, that's great.
About 12 people.
Still are you still at the same office?
No, we currently are remote firsts.
Okay.
We are moving to a new office very soon.
Okay.
But then we are remote firsts. So we mostly work from home. But then we have some of the people that I started with. I still have 4 of them on the team. It's been about 6-7 years now. Some of them are still on the team, and then there are people who have left, people who have joined, and yeah.
Okay, so what's the future looking like? I mean, now you've touched on what you're trying to do from the beginning, building these apps that help clients. I'm sure you've got, like you said, you've got the need for building these solutions from your work with small businesses. But generally, what does the future look like for us over the next year, next 5 years?
By 2030, we want to be the go-to growth company for ambitious businesses.
Okay.
Right. We want anyone to think about what is the next phase of their growth and think of iSupreme in terms of technology. The reason we keep saying next phase is that social media has been here for close to 10 years. When it comes to media, every couple of years there's a new medium that becomes mainstream. Some years ago it was radio, then TV, billboards, then social media. What is next? What's that next phase of for brands to reach their audience? And we want to be positioned to be the go-to for brands when they want to explore what that next phase is for them. So if you're already doing social media and all that, what if in the next 5 to 10 years your customers are not spending time on social media? Or what if social media is not their initial, and we can see it from some of these platforms like Facebook and Co are dead for a certain age bracket, for a certain demographic, So if you were a brand and then your primary marketing channel was Facebook, how is that playing for you now? So for future ready businesses, we want to help them figure out the next phase of marketing, the next phase of their growth with all the new technology that is coming on. So with the new advancements in AI, with VR, virtual reality, AR and all that, how do they take advantage of that to create different, better, deeper, stronger connections with their customers? And that is who we want to be. And want to do this for some of the most ambitious brands in the world. Okay. Aside that, also building more technology tools that can help brands do more efficient and cost-effective marketing.
I see. Through your story, I gather that you did this thing called Peswas. What's the story there?
Okay, so because of my field and my background in marketing and strategy, a lot of times my friends who are also into entrepreneurship, starting stuff like that, we get to have conversations on what we can do together. So Peswa was started by a friend of mine. It's a money platform. It's a fintech.
Okay.
To spend, save, and invest. So we talked about me coming on board to lead growth and marketing for that, and that's how it came about. So he was working on the products, led the development of the products. I was helping with marketing and all that, but then eventually was discontinued. And then he moved on to focus on other things. So that's what happened. So it was a payment platform. A lot of the times I try to look at other things that is possible for me to jump on. What I also noticed is that, and I think that's one of my weaknesses, is that it's very difficult to focus and be committed to something that is that's not part of iSupreme.
Okay.
You get it? So it's very difficult for me to be involved. If it's not, the reason is because I've built my entire strength around iSupreme, my team, the process, the structure, all of that. If I can put it as part of iSupreme, I know how to make it happen.
Yeah.
Because I've built a system that works.
Yeah.
So no matter how big it is, how small it is, I can make it work when it is part of iSupreme. When it is not, that means I have to be involved fully. I have to do things that I would ordinarily make someone that is part of iSupreme be in charge of. You get it? And that makes it very difficult for me to commit. So since I noticed that, I'm very intentional about the stuff that I hop on. A lot of opportunities come on board. People want to do things with you. I'm just usually very scared because I also don't want to, for my reputation's sake, I don't want to commit to something that I'm not able to deliver on. And then it becomes like, okay, he's not a trustworthy person or he's not a reliable person. So I try to. I've actually had an experience like that before where I was part of an organization and I couldn't, because of all my commitment with
iSupreme for startups.
Yeah, that
what happened there?
It was an idea we came up with, a couple of guys. We had worked a lot together from uni and we wanted to create, we felt like at the time the startup space in Ghana wasn't vibrant. So we wanted to create a community that brought everyone together, shared resources, shared experiences, and actually create a framework, that could be followed. So we're not just looking at community and we're actually looking at policy as well. How can we inform policy on a high level and all that, But then again, I was still trying to figure out the entire iSupreme thing. This was 2-3 years after school, trying to figure all of it out. So there was so much commitment on that end, and I didn't have a lot of structure on my own to be able to commit to that. So I had to. I felt like I was drawing back the organization, so I had to pull out so that things can. Yeah. So I tend to be very skeptical when it comes to such stuff.
Commitment, Reminds me of the story of Red Bull. Red Bull, the owner of Red Bull didn't make the energy drink. It was just running a marketing company.
Okay.
And then tasted this great energy drink and well, we can do this. Took it on and powered it with his marketing system. And then now Red Bull is what Red Bull is. So I think it's good that you're open to things that fit into the system built.
It's actually a model that we've explored. I think 2-3 years ago, we started something called Service for Equity, where we do marketing and growth for certain startups that seem to have a lot of potential in exchange for equity in their business. So we explored that model. It's something I'm still open to. It's just that, you always look at the team's capacity to be able to do that. So we explored that. There are a couple of startups we had conversations with, but some of them, are giving away equity is a difficult conversation for a lot of people. But if we are going to do it, we need to know that there's something in it for us. So that's something that we like to do. We are still open to doing stuff like that. If we see that, because we are investing time, we need to make sure that it's going to be profitable soon enough, so that we can. It's not really about making money back, that we can actually start spending on the things we are doing. So if you are doing marketing, there's only a lot you can do with organic activities, But how can we start making money from it to start spending on it, So that's what we try to look at. But then, it's something that I believe that there's a lot of it's a huge bet. If you can, that's what VCs do.
Yeah,
they put their money in, hoping that in the 5 years they become profitable, they make their money back. If I can put my resources behind a business and I know that in 2-3 years it's going to be profitable and I'm going to do that, So it's something I still look forward to. And there are a lot of businesses that I see, I'm like, this business, if I had a means, I would own a part of this business. I would do like a measure or an acquisition even, with iSupreme. There are a lot of them. You see that there's so much potential. What I notice is that for a lot of us, and it's even something that applies to me, we are really good at building, but growing is something that we lack. It's not something. I don't think it's something that it's for a want of not trying. I think sometimes you just don't have the means to. or you just don't have the resources to get to that level that you want to get. So you see people trying a lot of things, and they are very good at the actual crafts. If it is creating, they know how to create. If it is producing, they know how to produce. But then growing it, and then the operations behind the entire thing, because it's business it's a machinery on its own. There's operations, there's finance, there's administrative stuff, there's marketing, there's growth, and not everyone has the strength and the bandwidth to be able to do that. So there are a lot of times I think if I were to start another company today, what it will be is to create that, like a machinery that supports businesses so they can focus on what they know how to do, and then we run the entire business operation for them. It's something I've thought of, I've entertained, but I just look at my time and my commitments. I'm like, maybe later on. But then, it's something that I would really want to, because there's so much potential that is not being explored because you just don't have the bandwidth.
Quite a brilliant young man you are.
Thank you.
And has your mother come around?
Come around nowhere.
I mean, the idea that now you are a rogue son who's in marketing.
How many years has it been now? She comes around, then she backslides. She comes around and she backslides. We just hope it's. I mean, all I want is to make her feel like she wasn't right all along. That I knew what I was up to. So every time. That I'm a very patient person with my goals, right? I know that this is going to happen. I give myself time, and there are times there'll be setbacks and all. But then I'm very patient. I know I'm going to get to that point. But unfortunately for you, and it's the same with every entrepreneur, not everything and everyone will be patient with you. So you are patient. Your parent might not be patient with you. If you're in a relationship, your partners might not be patient with you. And that is the conversation we don't have, right? Because you know that, this thing a bit fat, and you are committing to it and all that. But you have a partner who is, Charlie, when you get it. Not that they are doubting you, but then they also are looking out for themselves. They want to be with someone that they know there's stability. So they might not be patient. So what I do is I never fault people like that. I always take it as someone looking out for themselves, or someone even wanting the best for you. Because again, it's very easy for us to go the route of, they don't believe in me and all that. No. But if someone didn't believe in you, they wouldn't look out for you. Sometimes they are trying to protect you. That okay. This thing, what if actually you go 5 years, 10 years time and it actually doesn't fart? You get it? But you will never know. So sometimes all you need is people who are patient with you. Family, friends, your team. My team will be extremely patient with me. Because it gets tough. Right? What people don't know is we have restarted this company 3 times. People don't know that. On the outside, it's a company that is growing. Yes, it's actually. In fact, some of the times that I call the worst moments in the growth of our company were some of the best moments if you compare it to the previous years. There was also a period of a lot of uncertainty, a lot of failures, and all that. At that point, what you need is people who are patient with you. But you can't fault someone who isn't patient with you during that period, because they're also looking out for themselves. So there's someone who is working with you and they have a plan for their life. They can't put their plan for their life on hold for you. Have decided to go and start a business. You get it? So someone wants to say in 5 years they want to be at this level in life. They want to be in this kind of role and in this amount of money and all that. Then the company is not growing as fast as they want to be. It's very natural that they will jump ship to go and explore things that will make them grow faster. It's very natural. So what you don't have to do is to, be a sour, bitter person about it, right? You just have to understand. You have to be open-minded. Okay, this is why it is what it is, and then just let it be. Never. So I don't take when people jump ship, I don't take it personal. It hurts, and because of my nature, people think I don't care about stuff like that. When people leave, people think I don't care. I actually do, and I take it very badly. I go through all of it like a heartbreak. You deal with it. You have the nightmares, the withdrawal, the heartaches, and all that, right? But then eventually,
waking up at 2 a.m. to shout, hey.
You understand, but eventually you get around and you understand why they had to, So that's the thing. And I think it's all of those reasons that make people, that makes it difficult for people to want to start a business.
Yeah.
Because people think about all the difficulty, all the failures, all the challenges, and it's normal that you would be hesitant to get into business.
Yeah.
But then that's also the thing. When people think about failure, they think about it in absolutes. People think failure is absolutes. That if they say you have failed, it means the entire thing has collapsed. But that is not always the case, right? I see failure I see it in bits, not as a whole. Because you're always going to fail. And the most successful people still fail. Who are our goats in football? Messi, Ronaldo. They have bad days, they have bad games. That is failure, If you're running the business, people think failure means the business has collapsed. But no, if an employee is unhappy and they resign, you have failed. If you launch a product that didn't sell, you have failed.
Yeah.
If you've delayed on salary payments, you have failed. If you have an unhappy client, unhappy customer, you have failed. You're always going to fail somehow.
Yeah.
Once you start seeing it that way, what you want to do is to keep the entire vehicle moving. Even if one tire bursts on the way, even if there is an engine failure on the way, whatever it is, just keep the entire vehicle moving. And that's how I see it. So things are going to fail. I've lost clients. In fact, sometime last year, I lost 4 clients in a go. You get it? On the outside, everyone sees growth. They see you still moving. And that is what you have to do. Keep the vehicle moving. Keep the company moving. People don't have to, or you don't have to give up because some part of it is failing. So that's when you have that, when you start seeing failure as that, it becomes easier to deal with it. That one thing is not moving, cool. You are dealing with that, but keep the entire thing moving.
Running.
Yeah.
Wow. It brings me to this question about the journey as founders, right?
Yeah.
And how there are expectations of the people we work with, expectations of the people who have committed their lives to us, so to speak, whether it's like relational fronts, whether it's like a relationship or family. And you also have expectations. And you also have expectations for yourself. And the period of waiting for the realization or like the manifestation of those expectations, it can be very lonely and gruesome. Like you've highlighted some of them, right? And how do you, in your bid to like keep all these, like the vehicle moving, even though it's like, the back seat is on fire, your front tires, is flat, your just things are not going as planned, things are on fire. How do you keep yourself sane? How do you take care of like your mental health? What do you do to stay afloat and not drown? Because it's a very, very, very unfriendly terrain.
Brutal.
Yeah, gruesome. And like you said, people know of these. Not many people know this. On the outside, everything may be looking nice and good, and like you guys are. I heard you raise this amount of money, or I heard you close this client, but then your ship is in distress. How do you be there for everybody, show up for everybody, but then also show up for yourself? Most importantly, how do you do that?
You always have the end in mind. Where am I trying to get to? You're not there yet. You can't give up on the way. If you never doubt the journey, then I don't know who you are, because you will. I do. Once every 3 months I do. There was some time last year that I kept telling my team, you guys, I'm done with this thing. I won't lie to you. I'm sure I still have because of that chat somewhere. I wake up and like, I don't know, and not because something is going. So there are times that it just comes in like, what am I even doing here? You know, but something else will happen. That make you feel like, okay, this is why I've been doing this all along. So you need to find a reason. I made a tweet 2 days ago, sometime this week, that it is very important to do things you love, because sometimes that's the only reason you have to keep going. You need to be passionate about it. You need to fall in love with it, because when it gets tough and there isn't that thing that keeps you going, you are going to leave.
Yeah.
And it's very natural for everybody. In a relationship, if you encounter conflict or issues with your partner, and there isn't that thing that makes you wake up and say, I love this thing so much about them, and because of that, I want to make it work, you're going to leave. You need a reason that I can't say for everybody. I have found my reason is that this is what I'm trying to build. Okay. And I'm going to make it happen regardless of the challenges that I face. 2, you need to find a way to cope, a coping mechanism. Yeah. Good, bad, disastrous, whatever. Find something.
What do you do?
Everyone.
How do you cope?
I sleep a lot.
Okay.
I sleep. I think sleep is like my best coping mechanism. Whatever it is, I feel like once I sleep and wake up, I'll find a solution to it. I'll find a way. In fact, there are times that you sleep and wake up and your brain resets from that feeling of I've given up to I can actually make this happen. There are times that you figure out a solution in your dreams or in your sleep. So I sleep a lot. I watch movies to distract myself. There are times that you just want to deal with the situation, so you need a distraction. So it's I really like people who have friends, a community, because it can really help you, get out of it. I don't have a lot of friends. Unfortunately, my friends are the people I work with. So when we are going through it, we are all going through it together, So sometimes, and that's what happens, sometimes we'll meet, we'll sit down, we'll talk, and the conversation just moves away from work to other things. We'll laugh and all that. Before you know, like, that thing has just dissipated. You don't feel it as much as you used to. Because like there are people who are there for you. So you need to find a community, you need to find your coping mechanism, and you need to look at the end goal. Why did you start this in the first place? It's very easy for also us to there's this thing called a sunk cost fallacy, right? So because you've invested so much in it over a period of time, you feel like I need to keep going. But at some point you need to assess that, is it actually going to work? I told you I lost some clients last year, 4 years ago. No, last year, about 4 clients. And I felt like, do I need to keep this thing moving? Yeah. Because you've lost some clients, but everyone on the outside knows what you're capable of. And people are always going to reach out to you to do things for them, right? Once people know that you exist and you are good at this and you keep showing that you are good at it, they're going to find their way to you. So the difficult thing is that waiting period, that 6 months of waiting, that 1 year of waiting, that is where it is hard. And that is where you need to stay focused. I think that's the most difficult part for people, when there's nothing going on, when there's silence, when you are waiting, you're waiting for that next call, that next gig, that next client, that next sale. Someone I've been talking to recently had issues like that. So they sell a product, and then 1 week they're making a lot of sales. Then they go the full weekend, it's like dead silent, no sale at all. And I asked them, you made sale last week, right? And you are good at what you do. People like it. What makes you think they're not going to come back again? Maybe it's this week. There are a lot of reasons that accounted for that. Maybe it's you're broke. Maybe they've not heard of you. Just keep doing what you do to get yourself in the front of people. And if you are selling something of value, they always find their way back to you. You just need to be able to go through that period of silence. And that's a difficult part for a lot of people. So myself, that's what I do. I think I'm very strong mentally, so I'm able to go through that and come back unscathed, And I'll sleep over it. I'll I won't talk to people often, but then when I do, it's relieves me a bit,
Yeah.
distract myself with movies and all that thing. Eventually you're fine, but you come back to it again. Eventually, even when things are going right, you come back to it. So you just need to get used to coming back to that phase.
Yeah. You're clearly, like I said, a very brilliant young man. And your journey has been interesting. I really hope you keep your eye on the goal. You find your community and then you just keep going, right? I also see some synergy with what you're doing and with the client. Yeah. Just probably see how we can work together.
Definitely.
Especially with the podcast.
Definitely.
And yeah, thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having this conversation with me.
Yeah. All right, community. That was my conversation with Clinton, and great conversation. The mantra remains: just build something. You do it.